it all starts with compassion, respect, right? It all starts with that. And once, because I know you can be an artist, but you can still be an asshole. I don't know, I actually set my Instagram name to Cortés Kimberly because the other one wasn't available. And then I kind of liked it. I also really love when people just call me Cortés, or when they, you know, because sometimes I'm like, call me Cortés, please, or you can call me Kim, or you can call me C-Ray, or, you know, because I just have like these personalities for every single one, which is all me, but I just split it into the extreme. And so that's why I kind of, you know, I love when people call me Cortés, because it makes me feel very like professional. Cortés is more like the, you know, Kimberly's like the girl and like the actress behind all of it. It's like everything's a movie for her, nothing's really real or reality. And Cortés is like the businesswoman. She's like the one that's taking charge and teaching Kimberly every step of the way.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, I mean, my grandmother's surname is Cortés, and she was like, I don't know, I like Kimberly Cortés more because of the sound of it. It just flows instead of Cortés Kimberly. But I feel like eventually people will understand, okay, we don't have to call her Cortés Kimberly. We could just call her either Kimberly or Cortés, or KW or whatever. And so, yeah.
I think we don't even need to like really start over or whatever, or like really have an intro, because we're in the midst of a subject already. Let's keep it
Yeah.
going. That's awesome. So um you already explained
Mm-hmm.
why you put last name first, first name last. Can you explain more about this movie, which is like where Kimberly is just the viewer, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So actually what's funny about me is I usually do everything backwards. For instance, as well, when I started using like photography or doing makeup, or even now I'm trying to produce my own beats, mix and master, and I try to do the whole engineering and the recording. And so usually people first make sure that they have the skill set, you know, they make sure, okay, I'm, you know, I got all of my knowledge, I know how to do it, and then they get, you know, the equipment for it. Me, I got equipment. I feel like I'm just very lucky, probably, or just very abundant, and I'm very blessed. And so I first have this equipment that is professional equipment. And so what I do, I have the equipment, but I still need to learn the how. And so I usually do stuff backwards, and not consciously, it just kind of happens that way. But I don't know, maybe it's just supposed to be that way. I just trust the universe. I trust whoever is guiding me. And yeah, and so what I kind of, how I see the world is that, you know, Kimberly's like the actress behind it all, and Cortés is this sophisticated but still very this woman that just has so much sex appeal and can just turn into whatever, like something mystical, something just a powerful, independent businesswoman that shall be respected and admired, and yeah, just like looked upon. Do we say that? I don't know. And yeah, and KW is the rapper. This is more the masculine side in me. I definitely am very connected to like the feminine and the masculine side. I feel like I'm balancing that out. And so KW is definitely very masculine, and I also like hide my hair under a cap when I'm feeling that vibe, or that masculine energy. And then we have C-Ray, and C-Ray is I like to see C-Ray and Cortés as the parents, and KW and Kimberly are like the children. So it's like my own little family. Since I was you know, I always wanted to have this strong family connection, which I can, you know, work with and have a family together. And so I kind of made this own family in me because I can feel this mother in me and the father in me, but I can still feel the child. And so I can be childish. And then when I need to, you know, be serious, I'm like, I go into myself, and then automatically I just switch. You know, I just switch, and I'm like determined, consistent, focused, and just very confident. And then there are just, you know, and then the child is sometimes just very, um, it can be doubtful, but you know, Cortés and C-Ray, like they switch it up. They're like, you're gonna get up, and that's how I talk to myself as if there would be multiple me's, which is probably maybe weird for some, but it's I love it. It doesn't make me crazy or anything. But that's just how I work with myself and how I, you know, get up every time I fall, or you know, if I love to study anything there is, like if it's physics or psychology or music. It's it's like C-Ray teaches me that, you know, as in acting through me, and I let it, and then I have the results. Yeah.
Awesome. So it's like those four, it's like a structure to cope with, I'm not sure if cope is the right word, with yourself, like to have the discipline you need, yet to still be playful and live and express who you are, who you want to be, stuff like this. So it's like really for you to like separate different aspects in life. Did I understand that right?
Yeah, I feel like that's just how I operate. I don't know how, trust me, I do not know how it wasn't that one day I sat down and I'm like, okay, how will I be great? Or how will I like myself? Not, it just came naturally to me because I was born as a lonely child. Now I have a little half brother. He's like almost gonna be 2, but that's like, you know, he could be my child right now. And so I grew up by my uh, no, not by myself. I mean, I was often by myself, and so I learned how to kind of play with my imagination a lot. And yeah, and I was just always very, very creative and very connected to the above, to the source, to what God or universe, however people like to call it, and angels and all of that. I really believe in that, and so I was always very communicative with the those spirits, or you know, and I really do believe that they're guiding me, and that I feel that in them, in me. Sorry, I feel it in me, and so maybe certain spirits, those who, you know, are guiding me, that those I gave them names, maybe unconsciously, and so that's how I see them now. They're like, oh, okay, they're allowed to come into this physical body and act through me to help me, and guide me. And sorry, do you have a different question? Or
No,
did I?
totally not. No,
Okay,
totally
okay.
not. That's
All right,
totally
all
where
right.
we want to go. I think, but I can jot one in here right now. Um, like which of these, or how did it happen that one of these sides of you started actually with the artistry of, yeah, let's say you, because I know that you're a singer, I know that you're a dancer, you also teach dancing. How did this happen that this dreamer kid turned into a person with different sides that has now like the dreaming part, making the visions and missions? And how did it go into artistry? Like how did you,
Mm-hmm.
where did you start to sing, and how did how
Yeah.
do yeah, how does that like sort of, how does that lead you to singing, the whole thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, so when I was very little, when I was like, I think I was like, it's, it, I don't, I think I was like 4, yeah, I think I was like 4 years old when I started to sing opera. Um, I didn't sing any, I was just singing opera all the time without me knowing that I was even doing it. I was just like, oh, all around. Every time I was in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet at my grandmother's house, because my grandparents, they're big, like they were a big influence in my life because I was often, they kind of practically raised me. And so my grandma, she's actually very artistic. Actually, my grandfather, he used to paint as well. No, draw, excuse me, draw. But my grandmother, she was like all into dancing, acting, singing, playing instruments, painting. So she does what I do now is everything she did. And so I really feel like I'm the extended version or the modern version of her. And the thing is with her is that she gave it up for her family to be, a housewife basically, but um, a very, a very amazing housewife, I could say, a very loving, devoting mother that, pushes her children. And so she's a very big inspiration to me. And so I lost what I wanted to say. But yeah, so yes, now I know where. And yeah, and so she inspired me basically. I feel like she had this influence on me, this, this artistic magic, and so I kind of grew into that naturally. I didn't wake up one day and I was like, hey, you know what, I want to be this. Um, yeah, and then I also started dancing when I was 4 or 3. And I remember when I was like 7 years old, I think I was 7, I was back in the States. I was watching Wizards of Waverly Place. And I'm like, I want to be an actress and a singer. And I'm gonna dance. And like, and that was it. That's like, I made up my mind. And my parents at first were like, oh, you're just a kid, how are you gonna do, that's too hard. And I think it's really sad when parents don't see the possibility of achieving something that you find impossible, because just because it's impossible for you, my dear, doesn't mean that it's impossible for someone else, because not everyone's made for the same path. And so I feel like, actually, props to the parents or just family members that actually really do believe and don't laugh at their children when they say such things, when they say, I want to become. And yeah, so that's how it kind of happened. I'm like, okay, I want to be this, and I stuck with it since then. um and I remember when I was like 16, my dad was like, do you still want to act? And I'm like, yeah, I want to act. Like, I was very afraid to admit that I wanted to sing. So I said, I want to act because I don't know why I was afraid. Probably because everyone used to always tell me to like, be quiet, like don't talk. And so I feel like it kind of, I feel like it just worked into my subconscious. And I started as as a very young child, you get influenced a lot. And so I kind of worked um, through that, through my conscious. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell them I want to be a singer. I'm going to tell them I want to be an actress, which I want to be, and I am. I feel like I act every day because this life is a movie for me. But yeah, that's how it kind of started. So I started taking acting classes at the age of 11. And yeah, and then I went to an academy, and I finished that academy when I was like 15, or finished. Basically, I didn't go anymore. Um, and yeah, and then one day, I think I was like 18, and I'm like, I'm ready to tell my parents that, singing is also a big part of my life, that the music is a big part of my life. And so with 19, I actually proactively started to the proactive, I started record and, write the music and accept that part of me.
How does the creative process look like, and which are the influences on your songwriting, your like the creating of how you express, and yes, what goes into a song, and how does the creative process look like at this point?
Mm-hmm. So I remember I had a hard time writing songs for a while, and so one day I just sat down and I'm like, I'm just gonna write a song. I'm just gonna do it, and then I just did it somehow. I just started writing. I didn't think a lot. I just let it flow. I really feel like when you are in alignment with, the four elements, and the four bodies that we have, when you're in alignment and when you're connected to the source, to God, you are in such, you get these messages from above, and you just start writing it down without even thinking. And so it's natural. It's a natural process. The moment when you start overthinking it is the moment where it doesn't really come from a natural source, from the soul, from the heart. And I know that, some, like a lot of commercial songs are written that way. They're very structured, they're very thought, they are almost like, psychological, no, yeah,
With
they
the marketing aspects and stuff like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
like what do the listeners want, what is catchy, stuff like this. Of course that's out there, but of course, like personally, I know there's a lot of singers, they put, and I think there's some good examples out there, like Taylor Swift, for example. They've put so much personality into their songs and productions that they have lost themselves being there, building and defining their own happiness depending on people. And we have been talking about that earlier on
Mhm.
together when we were exchanging about stuff like this. I remember they've put so much of their personal life and experience into songs like this that they've lost like themselves in the jungle of
Yeah.
attention and happiness depending on their crowd and stuff like this.
Mhm.
How much of your personality and your personal life do you put into songs, like stories, feelings, experiences, and how do you cope with that? You don't live, or so that you actually don't live for
Mhm.
the attention.
Yeah, I actually put everything in my songs. Like I have very sexual songs, but then again I have very aggressive songs. I have one song that I will never ever release just because it's just too brutal, and it's dedicated to my parents, my family, and that is just, I cannot do that. That is too much. But all the other songs that are also I'm very open and I'm very vulnerable, and I really don't care, because this is a therapy, this is a movie for me. And so I yeah, I just put everything that what I feel. I don't try to limit myself. I don't try to be like, oh no, this is too much. Oh, this is too sexy, or this is too um I don't know, too aggressive or whatever. I just let it flow, because I know that one day people out there will be able to relate, and I know that it will touch people's hearts because it came from mine. And all the hits that are that were studied, and we're like, okay, so we're gonna make this commercial song and we're gonna do it a hit, we're gonna write this and this and that, we have to make it catchy. Those songs, okay, they're around, they're a hit, but what I want to achieve is to help the people. I want to help especially mental health is a really big factor. And so I feel like I want to be a bit of a movement in that area as well, because I don't know, but I've I've read that 14-year-olds now are struggling with the same depression and anxiety and mental illnesses, how 40-year-olds used to be in the 50s. So what the 40-year-olds in the 50s, were struggling with depression, anxiety, are the 14-year-olds right now, which is insane to me. It's crazy, and it's not okay. And I feel like it goes against freedom of humanity and freedom of, of the body, mind, and soul, especially.
I'm
And
I'm
music.
100. Yeah, I'm 100% with you right here, because and not only is this year contributing a huge part towards people having mental, or let's say, yeah, mentally a hard time, and not just because of this year, and I I wanted to go first into a different subject, but you kind of made me
Yeah,
switch.
sorry.
Like, no, that's totally fine. Because I see that the purpose, or let's say that with the aim that you have, is like creating something that has a foundation and the power of, let's say, Frank Sinatra, Michael Jackson, stuff like this. Those are legends. They did. Their music is timeless. You can still listen to that, and it sounds like music from produced today, because it's high
Yeah.
quality, it's timeless, messages behind what they sing, the music itself, and that's the actual brilliant part, is also catchy on top, without maybe even wanting it to be so, but it's catchy on top. It's
Yeah.
it's timeless, it's catchy, and it has the power to move something. And I really like that you want to go into this direction, because I think this is really important. I just like want to put in like my own perspective right here a little bit, because the number one thing that I feel right now is not that we have another lockdown for 2 years or something like this. I can live with that, not a problem. We all can. Like, we're grown ups, we can live with that. But our kids, they grow up in a society that is just separated into two different sort of, how you say that, parties, and this is not good. We should sit down and think, learn, and most of all, we should talk to each other, exchange, and start again to seek for conversation with respect, because social media took that away from us. I've experienced it, and I want, the question is coming soon. I experienced this so many times on Facebook, on Instagram, and everything. Someone is literally, and excuse my language, placing a dump on the net. Is it a picture? Is it a text? Whatever. And then people go ham, dumping on top of that dump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always with like short words of like screw you, or yeah, nailed it, stuff like this. Not many. I'm not doing generalize, like I don't generalize here, but a lot of people do not take their time to be respectful to each other and actually create content with a foundation, with actual information that might be helpful for someone else to think through. How do you think can we, in a era like this with social media, and through how this year digitalization became a whole new, or is evolving at a whole new like pace, how do you think that can we individually focus on making things better?
How we can
No,
focus on
that is a
making
tough one.
things
I know it's a
better.
tough one. Like, really, as individual people, what
Yeah.
would you tell each single person on the planet if you had the time in your life to meet everyone face to face and give them one single advice, or yeah?
I would say I think everything starts with yourself. And if you tune into yourself, um, I think this is actually a perfect time to kind of be a bit by yourself, because if you are not afraid to be by yourself, you have to get that courage to face yourself. And facing yourself is, you know, get getting to know the sides that, you know, the things that you have maybe done wrong or weren't so great. And so this is the time where we can all just, you know, for those that don't do it, because people are going crazy, people are angry, and instead of doing that, people should, you know, sit back and be like, okay, I have this time for myself, with myself now, and so I'm going to take this time to better myself. So I'm going to reflect and I'm going to tune in, you know, that alignment. And I feel like if people would be in alignment with the source, with their true selves, if people would all be in alignment, they automatically start having more love and compassion, and love and compassion equals respect. And when you have that, when you are respecting yourself, when you are loving yourself, you can do that with other people. But because people are so greedy and afraid that there's not enough for them, they attack others. But what they're really doing is they're attacking themselves, because people forget that we are all one. We are all one. We all come from this greater source, from this higher power, and we ain't shit, all right? We ain't shit right now. Inside, I do believe we are very valuable, but it's just the physical body. It's just a something material. It's just physical. It passes, you know, it comes and goes. But what stays is the soul. So it's important to nourish that part. And I feel like a lot of people just, they sell their soul basically to the media. They sell their soul to a job that they don't like, and they do things that they just don't want to, but are yet afraid to face themselves. But we need to face ourselves in order to, you know.
So would you say that there is something major that we're afraid of? Like, are we afraid of death, or are we just afraid of losing, or even deeper, are we just afraid of being afraid?
I feel like everyone has their own fears, actually, because what you go through life, I feel like right now there's, though, a huge wave of pressure on finance, um, because, you know, it's just, there's more and more money when, you know, money doesn't really actually exist. But everything's getting, you know, the prices are getting higher, and what used to be, for instance, it's all about numbers, right? So what used to be like 6 years ago or 10 years ago, what used to be 44,000 subscribers on YouTube used to be huge, and now that's just like, okay, well, and now it's like, it's about 40 million subscribers, 20 million, you know what I mean? So the numbers are going up, and that's just pressuring, I feel like it's pressuring people to focus on these numbers. And that is also, you know, just, it's pressure, it's anxiety, it's fear of not making it, I think. But then again, what would, that shouldn't be your focus. But I really do feel like that the numbers are penetrating people's souls sort of. And yeah, just because I feel like finances is a big, money is like this huge topic where a lot of people are suffering, that a lot of people are suffering from it.
I agree 100%. I just maybe with these numbers at a complete new scale, let's say that way,
Mhm.
and also seeing what's possible nowadays through digitalization, through access, through the potential at hand. We have never been at this point before, where we have such huge potential, such diverse resources at hand to, like, let's say it this way. Never before has it ever been that easy to make some decent amount of money. Never before has it been this easy to grow an easy number of followers, likes, views, YouTube, whatever. Of course, like Instagram is a different story now that like algorithms literally hide you. I don't know how they work. Maybe I'm just making this up right now, but it's like I hear
No,
a
no,
lot that like there's
yeah.
algorithms just putting people behind products and stuff like this. And that's why we're already, you know, also on like this mission of like, hey, we'll screw the algorithms, like people first. I agree with that numbers is the thing that we struggle with because we see huge numbers, we're not really able to cope with it, and we think that this is something that is actually like a status that makes an achievement in the end, instead of looking at it as
Mhm.
just better potential that has never been here before. That will be my statement from my side, that hey, let's look at numbers differently. Never before have we been
Mhm.
able to achieve such numbers. You know what I mean? This should be
Yeah.
inspiring. And so that's the point where I get you um like 100%. I just maybe how do I start this? Let's maybe go into, because I think coming from the artist industry and community, I see it a lot more than with people that have nothing to do with creative processes, or let's say that way, with people that don't that they're not consciously focusing on creative processes. Like artists, they focus consciously on creative processing, and
Mhm.
artists are the one, like species, if I may call it this way, on the planet, which actually face themselves and sometimes lose themselves in that,
Mhm.
because we have this sort of aspect coming in of attention, you know. If you're a person not really into like active creative processes, you don't have this attention thing as much as you being an artist. And if you don't manage to get
Mhm.
this sort of in balance, it's hard nowadays, and then the numbers become like a problem. How how do you, like for yourself, manage? And I think this is something that I wanted to go into earlier on. How do you manage for yourself to not fall for the numbers, yet you want to inspire people with what you do? That is a huge thing. Like
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
want to count your success on your or like, let's say that way, the success level of your impact. You don't want to measure it on the attention that you get via views and clicks and stuff,
Mm.
yet it is
Yeah.
connected. How does it work?
Definitely. Definitely. I feel like it's about self-control, and as I said earlier, the family that I have within myself always keeps me in check, always keeps me aligned. There's always this voice that's like, hey, you know what? Focus on this. And then it's as well, like I remember I have this one music video, it's called Sign, and it got, I think, 21,000, which is great for me. It's cool, but it's when people were congratulating me for it, I was like, thanks. I guess, like, what am I supposed to say? Like, okay. I mean, it is good in comparing to the last other music videos that I posted, but but it's not. I am thankful for it. I thank God every day. Um, but I don't let that define me. I don't let that influence me as much, because I know how much I still have to learn. I know what, it's like, oh, it's not, it's like, I can do much better, and I want to do much better. I want to learn more. And I just, I feel like I don't give myself this, this time to, there are people that always like, oh, now we need to celebrate. And I'm not really that person. I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna go work. some more. And
That
so I
is
just,
that is like Roger Federer. You know that?
oh, okay, okay.
He
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he wins the Grand Slam. He gave an interview and then now you're going celebrate and then, no, 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 I'm going back to Switzerland. I have training tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly, exactly. That's what it is. And I mean, it's cool. I learned that, you know, sometimes we do have to take a little break and reflect, celebrate a bit if you want. That is necessary. That's what I learned, just to keep it balanced. But definitely don't get blinded by those numbers, those views. Be thankful for it that you're able to reach those people, but I feel like I haven't done enough. I'm definitely a big people pleaser, and so I always feel like I need to do more. What did I give these people? I just gave them a song and visuals. I want to give them more. I want to help them through their lives. I want to be like their therapist, you know, and I want to heal them, basically. I want to be a trigger for their healing, or like a motivator, inspiration, whatever, you know. That's kind of what I it's just the moment when I realize I healed the world. That's the moment where I'll be like, I'm satisfied, and that I will celebrate.
So
But
which are the smaller achievements on the way for you? Like where
in,
do you keep where do you keep your like how do you feel the fire? You know, there's a stupid saying, the fire which lacks sustaining fuel dies away on its own accord. Um, how do you keep fueling your fire of motivation, willpower, stamina? Like, which are the little successes for you where you see, okay, I could do it?
um how do I fuel my fire? I'm a natural red. Like I'm a natural, I have a lot of fire in me already.
Did you just say
I've-
red before?
yeah.
Do you do, so you've maybe studied like the four colors
I,
personality?
I I love studying like psychology. I study a lot of psychology, physics, chemistry. No, wait, that's science in English,
Yeah.
right? Sorry.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
science. You know,
So you've heard of like
I don't.
the four personality colors like red, blue, yellow, and green, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry for
yeah.
interrupting when I was like, wait, wait,
Definitely.
wait, did I just hear red? Because this is an awesome
Yeah.
thing. And I think for everyone out there, if you want to understand people, and because our brain works with categorizing, this is, you will, as a person, as a human being, never be able to change that. The only thing that you can do is manage your brain better so it categorizes better. So therefore, if you study the four colors, or let's say that way, the personalities that go into the categories of the colors red, blue, green, and yellow, you have a basic understanding for people, starting with yourself. So I highly recommend that at this point, just because she said red.
Yes.
So keep going. We
Exactly.
were about like these little
Yeah.
successes that actually fuel the fire.
Yes. Yeah, so I just, and as well, like in astrology, I have a lot of fire signs in there, and I sometimes even feel that inside me. I feel like I'm just doing things, and I'm like, oh, my fire is hot right now. Like it's like burning, and it's just the energy, that the drive that I was born with. And you know, I feel like it's also like a gene type of thing, because my father and his mother, my grandma Cortés, is very they're very determined, consistent people. um and so I probably also have that from them. But obviously in moments of some doubt, I feel like what fuels my fire is definitely the mission that I set myself to, the mission to, you know, help the world. If it's the ocean, nature, animals, stray animals, wild animals, and humans, children, and I also do have some interest into politics. Not that I don't support politics that way, but I, you know, I'm more of a I like to study things, and so I kind of, that's all my, that's what fuels my fire. The things that I don't agree with, the need for me to change it. I want it my way, it's my way or the wrong way, basically. And so that is my mentality, and I can't help it, and I love it. I'm not gonna, change that. Of course, I know how to accept certain things where I'm like, okay, you need to accept this, but that is what's constantly fueling my fire, is the things that are wrong, and or the things that I see as wrong or unhealthy, and as well, just basically connecting with people. I see this vision of humans enlightening a bit more than just a bit. They are awakening and starting to realize that we are all one. And I just have this vision that we walk on the street and there's change in the air, and that change is all, it's positive change. It's smiles, it's respect, it's love, it's compassion, it's support, and it's mutual. It's all mutual, and it comes from a place of deep down of the higher self, and not from the lower vibrational egocentric self, which we have, a lot of them right now, sadly.
I think I want to go into the subject of change because I'm a huge fan of facing myself with change and adapting as good as possible, using change for the best possible. That's sort of something, because I'm a huge fan there of change, because it's the number one thing that I think humanity is afraid of, change. And what's the question that I had on my mind? That's awesome now. So anyways, yeah, when it comes to change, yes, change is good. But I also feel like sometimes people, also myself, I don't have the patience to sit it through, or to actually push through for change. You know what I mean? Because there is a thing to change for the better. We always need to sort of fall first, because before we can rise again. We don't have to flat face, of course. Like, we don't have to face plant right away and face in the mud. It doesn't have to be that way necessarily. But I think from experience, you always see it in nature. You see it in the industry, like, let's say, economy. You see it everywhere. First, something has to go a little downwards, like down spiral, before we can make it go. Like, it's like a virus, let's say it that way. First it destroys some parts in your body becomes stronger, and then is afterwards less vulnerable to the same thing, or even an advanced version. It's like that. And humanity in general, of course, works like that too. Since Stone Age, like, people, the strong one survived, How do you think about how much of the negative part is actually something that you can face for change? Or what would you tell the people to, like, sit it through when it first goes down before it goes up? How do you convince for people to believe that change is good?
Oh, okay. Because with change, we evolve. And when we evolve, we grow. Our mind opens up and possibilities open up, doors open. We need to go through change in order to evolve. That's what I believe, and that's what I witnessed in my life and with other people. I love to coach other people as well. And they come to me and I'm like, hey, this and this and that, and I'm like, look, try this and this and that. But hey, when you have done that, call me and let me know. So they do that, and they prove to me that it is a positive thing. So I'm not the only one that that I witnessed, basically. And so I think it's a needed thing. We need to accept and not be afraid of it, because people are always like, oh, but they want to hang on, they want to, like, you know, they grab this rope and then they hang on to it, and then they're like afraid to fall. But but we have wings, you know, we come from angels. What if you're gonna fly? You can let go of this old, ugly, sad rope and just fly, and then you, that's how you evolve and grow. You grow wings, actually. You learn how to fly.
It's like the entrepreneur jumping off of a cliff, and on the way down he builds a parachute, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like jumping just with the raw material, or like, yeah, and then building the parachute on the way down, you know. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that for sure. Let's maybe go into one more subject before we can wrap this up. I'm really curious. Let's zoom a little bit more into the system, or let's say the structure in our industry and community of, and I'm going strictly like to the corner of artistry. It's sort of the forbidden subject to talk about, but our industry is lacking a huge part of structure. Like, if it's financial support from even the governments, because we didn't make it, you know, to sort of like create a deal, and this is a worldwide issue. And I am of course the first one to say the government needs to do something to start with. We need to do the bigger part, because we are responsible for that. And I actually, I can't stand it when people say, oh, it's bad government, bad politics, because we and our ancestors built this system the way it is, not knowing where it could, or how yeah, where this could lead in a situation like this. But especially that's where, you know, it's a good transition from the subject of change to this now, because I think this is exactly what happens right now. The lack of structure, where do you think can artists start? Because many times, and it's really a forbidden subject, because whenever you talk about it, you're sort of looked at as, oh, you pointy fingers, you know. So, but nevertheless, I like to talk about it, because really artists are the people that are on this like self-finding process kind of thing, not naturally the most business people. Some of them have it. There's really like tough business people in the artist industry, but many times we just lack structure. And I'm consciously not saying discipline, I'm saying structure. To have a structure, to start small for the bigger impact, for like, you know, reaching more far, to do something not just for yourself but also for others. Where do you think does this structure, or where do you think can we actually build structure in our industry that goes beyond that, up to the government, up to, you know?
Yeah, I feel like there are so many possibilities to it. For instance, one, I understand that not every human being is as ambitious as some, like, you know what I mean? Like, not everyone is ambitious enough or intelligent enough or smart enough or believes in themselves. And I would say with the people that, you know, are artistic and might, you know, not have enough will to learn how to build structure. Either, you know, I feel like the people that are able to have, you know, the business side and the artistic side, it all starts with compassion, respect, right? It all starts with that. And once, because I know you can be an artist, but you can still be an asshole. Not every artist is cute and amazing. There's so many artists that aren't even artists, you know, but they're artists, but they're still, they're not clear. Why am I doing this? They're just a bit manipulated by, you know, the numbers and the money and the fame. And so for me, that's not an artist. That is just someone that takes something and tries make money and build fame and whatever. So that's why I think it comes within. So when someone for instance has that business side and that artistic side, they understand both sides, they need to open their heart and be like, hey, you know what, I have an idea, let me, I don't know, make this company, let me do this, let me connect. So if you already have this knowledge and this, you know, the guts, the courage and the belief to, and the know-how to how to connect with people, it's all about, as well, it's all about connection, it's all about conversation, it's all about connecting with people, getting to the more people you know, the better. And so that's when ideas start to come up. And so you are able to build a structure for other artists as well, which you guys are as well doing. And so I feel like that's how the artist can profit from that. If does that make sense? So like, if you know what I mean? And so either you know, they can do it by themselves, they can, you know, sit down and be like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna take a workshop, or I'm gonna learn it by myself on the internet or books or whatever, or just by life experience. Or, you know, there are people out there that will be like, hey, you know what, let's do, and I mean, there are a lot of labels that do that. There are so many labels that do it. But the thing is with labels is that, you know, a lot of labels are there to use the artist, to almost abuse a soul, basically, a soul's work. And that is where I say, hey, you know what, this is not, or basically, okay, I see that you've been distracted by numbers. Maybe it started out of love, and then somehow it, you know, exactly, somehow it, you know, or it was focusing on the money from the start. And yeah, that's what I think. There are so many possibilities. I mean, you could build your own little team, you can, you know, learn it by yourself, or you can see if there are, you know, companies. I feel like there aren't enough or big companies that you can actually find that are like genuine and that have a good reputation of supporting artists, giving them a safe platform that, you know, that offers them structure and the business side. So I'm definitely all about that, and I do have this vision of me, you know, providing that to musicians. But I'm aware that, you know, I need to first have my own platform. And when I go through all this bullshit, excuse me, when I go through all of this, you know, stuff, life experiences, I'm able to learn from that. Then I will be able to actually handle other people as well, other musicians, and invest more, definitely, because by then I will have enough to invest into that.
Is there like, to, you know, slowly wrap this up, is there like I don't know, some little something to start with for people to be able to put themselves first, so that they can be more here for others, that they can take more responsibility in their life, that, yeah, that helps them to, hey, okay, let's get this together, let's work it out. So, you know, because now in these times I feel like this is something really needed, some advice. How can we work this out?
How can we work? What do you mean, how we can work this out?
How do I put that?
Or like, how can we come together, you mean?
For example, this, but as we like sort of broke it down before, it's like it starts with you, as you just
Yeah.
like defined how you built yourself first, you know, and you obviously put yourself first so you can be less selfish, sort of. What's your like advice for people to have that, because it is a huge thing. Like,
Oh,
there's envy, there's greed, there's, you know
yeah.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah,
I advise people to, well, that's the thing, not everyone can do what I can do. not everyone can do what you can do.
Of
You know
course
what I
not.
mean?
And that's what I'm saying. Hey, is there like something small that you can give them? Hey, there's where everyone can start. A kid, a grandma,
Yeah.
whoever in a wheelchair,
It's,
one leg, two legs, doesn't matter, you know?
yeah, I think it's the reflection, it's the awareness, and it's the confronting with what is going on in reality. It's all about awareness, reflection, and just being aware, practicing awareness of oneself and the world around you. First, you have to be aware of your own self, of your own world inside, and then it will automatically shift into the outside. That's how it goes. Everything happens on the inside, and then it's here, right? I think banana, I do banana shake, and then I drink banana shake. So it's like, all starts inside.
Internal, external, internal, external.
Exactly.
That easy, right? No, I'm just kidding. Totally. Get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it. I agree. Hey, with that, I want to thank you for your time. The depth of the subjects, really awesome. It's how you say that? It's
Eye-opening or
heavy,
like reflection?
heavy stuff. That's heavy stuff. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, most of the times, like nowadays, you have just a few people around you that go with conversations in two directions like these, you know. And I think a talk like this, actually, I think maybe this is really a good moment to quickly like put this out. A talk like this should actually be held more often, you know, like also in, not even being filmed, but like if you
Yeah.
start to cultivate conversation, we can learn so much. We can, and even about ourselves, just listening to someone else's story and thoughts, perspective, patterns, structure, discipline, lack of discipline, whatever, you know, the pros and the cons of everyone's like doing, behaving and misbehaving. And I think that's why I like to really have the guests here in this talk, because we can really take the time to go like, okay, I want to know, tell me. And then it goes somewhere and I might come up with a complete different thing. Like first I started off with like doing really strict like question. And now it's more like put up a framework and just let it go wherever it wants to go. And I think that's where, that's why I'm saying also like it's a little bit like heavy stuff, but it is really inspiring. I like the way that you put things for yourself to be able to do something for the greater cause, sort of.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I had lots of fun and I'm very grateful.